Welcome to The Explainer, where we deconstruct the architecture behind the apps you're probably using every single day.
So, have you ever wondered how apps like Salesforce or Figma can handle millions of different customers, all from a single platform? It's a huge question, and today we're going to dive into the architectural magic behind what's known as software as a service, or SaaS, to get you the answer.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Before we even touch the technical blueprints, you got to understand something super important. SaaS isn't really a technology thing. At its core, it's a business strategy.
Yeah, the whole point of the SaaS model is to be fast and efficient. It's about achieving agility and what's called economies of scale. You want to be able to push out new features quickly, update everybody all at once, and just run the whole operation smoothly. This isn't just some nice bonus. It's literally the foundation for how you build a successful modern software company.
And that business strategy leads us directly to the biggest technical puzzle in all of SaaS: multi-tenancy. I mean, how on earth do you serve tons of different customers, or tenants as we call them, securely and efficiently, all from the same shared system? Right, so in the SaaS world, a customer isn't just one person. They're a tenant. And you should really think of a tenant as a whole company. They've got their own users, their own private data, their own special settings, and all of that is living inside your one application. So, to solve this multi-tenant puzzle, architects basically have two main paths. First, you've got the silo model. This is like giving every single tenant their own private single-family house. All the infrastructure is just for them. Or you can go with the pool model. Think of this like a big apartment building, where all the tenants get their own unit but share the building's resources, like compute and storage, which really helps to keep costs down. And look, this part is absolutely non-negotiable. It doesn't matter if you pick the house or the apartment building, you have to build rock-solid architectural walls. Tenant isolation has to be perfect. Because a breach where one customer sees another customer's data, that could be a catastrophic game-over event for any SaaS business. So, how do you actually build a system like this that's both efficient and secure? Well, the AWS SaaS Lens, which is our guide for this explainer, lays out some really essential rules of the road. Okay, the big takeaway here is that you need to be thinking about this stuff from the very beginning. You have to design that tenant isolation into every single layer of your app. You've got to have one single automated way to bring on new customers, no doing things by hand. And this is a big one. You need to be able to see what's going on through the eyes of each tenant, watching their performance and understanding exactly how much they're costing you to run. All right, enough theory. Let's see how these principles actually come to life in some real-world architectural blueprints.
And here is a beautiful illustration of that pool model we talked about. This is a serverless SaaS setup. See how all those application services, those little boxes of microservices, are shared? Tenants send in requests, and things like AWS Lambda functions just spin up on demand to serve them. It's wildly efficient because you're only paying for the exact compute you use and nothing more.
Now let's flip the script and look at the silo model. Here, every tenant gets their very own private, totally isolated stack running inside its own virtual private cloud, a VPC. Now, this is way more expensive for sure, but it's absolutely the right call for customers who have super strict compliance rules or need guaranteed performance.
Now, here's the really interesting part. This is the one thing that makes a silo SaaS model different from just, a managed service you run for someone. To be true SaaS, even when all the tenants have their own separate infrastructure, they all have to be managed, updated, and operated together from one single unified control center. Every tenant runs the same version of the software, and they all get updates at the same time.
Okay, so you get the principles, you've seen the patterns, but how do you actually pull all these ideas together and make the right calls for your own app?
Well, that's exactly where frameworks like the AWS Well-Architected SaaS Lens come into play. It's basically a playbook, a structured collection of best practices. It helps you look at your own design and measure it against proven strategies for things like security, reliability, and cost, making sure you're building on solid ground. And if you remember just one thing from all of this, please let it be this quote. Your technical decisions, whether it's silo or pool or serverless or whatever, at the end of the day, all of those choices have to serve the business goals. It's all about agility, innovation, and being efficient. The tech is just how you get there.
So that brings us to the final question. Which blueprint is the right one for your big idea? Well, the answer really depends on your customers, your market, and what you're trying to achieve. But hopefully now, you've got the foundational concepts you need to start sketching it out. Thanks so much for joining me.